I made $56,000 in my very first year flipping mobile homes in trailer parks. And I'm going to share with you some of the strategies that I used and how I was able to get my first deal, and then how I built and scaled it in my first year. I only flipped 5 homes and I had a total of $20,000 invested in the purchase of these mobile homes. So you can buy mobile homes in trailer parks for very, very inexpensively. I even got one for free my first year. So I'm going to jump into all of that with you and just share with you what's possible with mobile homes in trailer parks. Most people don't even know that that is a house flipping strategy. A lot of real estate investors and house flippers completely pass up this opportunity because they don't think there's any money in them. So I'm here to tell you that is not correct. So if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. I put out videos like this one every single day, teaching you all about flipping mobile homes and trailer parks. My name is Steph, and I've been doing this since 2019. So it's good to have you here. So let's jump into my very first year flipping mobile homes. And my first deal came because I had been marketing myself as a mobile home buyer in my city. I started by putting out bandit signs all around my city, basically advertising that I buy mobile homes and I pay cash, and then I have my phone number listed. And I'm going to actually link below for you the video on my bandit sign strategy, so make sure you watch that one next. But basically I had these signs, not inside the mobile home parks. I don't recommend that because the mobile home parks typically don't like your signs on their private property. So I would put them up around the parks, though, at like intersections and places where people would, be coming to a stop and could see my number. And my sign very clearly says I buy mobile homes. And so anybody that owns a mobile home and that is looking to sell it and doesn't want to list their home, like on the market, or they don't want to bother with even listing it for sale by owner because maybe they need a quick cash exit from their home. A lot of times my my sellers are people that have a high motivation to sell quickly, and they might have purchased another home. Maybe they have to be out of state. Maybe they got a job transfer. Maybe the person that lived in it was their parent and they passed away, and now they're left dealing with the home. Lots of different scenarios like that where people just really don't want to deal with listing their home, having buyers come in and walk through their home and nitpicking it. And a lot of these mobile homes that I'm buying are total fixer-uppers. And so there's very few people that want a fixer-upper old mobile home in a trailer park. So for them, listing it and dealing with the headache of that is they don't want to deal with that. So that's where those kinds of people would call me. So that was my very first lead, was a person that had purchased a home. She actually bought like a regular home and had a mortgage that they were closing on the home in like 2 weeks. And she contacted me because she's like, I have to get out of the mobile home. Otherwise, I'm going to be stuck with the lot rent on this home, and I can't afford lot rent plus my new mortgage. So she was ready basically to leave her home and just leave it behind and just turn it over to the park. And she saw my sign though, and excuse me, so she called me and she was like, would you come look at my home? So I came look at her home. I made her an offer. I bought it for $5,000. And because I had bought it off market, had a lot of room to work with on how I then sold it. So I chose the quick flip strategy, which was basically to sell it as is at a deep discount. So I put it on the market. I listed it for sale by owner on Facebook Marketplace and on Craigslist. And Craigslist was still kind of a thing back in 2019. It's not so much anymore in 2026, but I listed it. I took a lot of pictures of it, and it was clean. It was livable. It just wasn't updated. It was a cosmetic fixer-upper. So I sold it for $30,000 at a deep discount because in my area, you can't buy anything, even a rehabbed mobile home, for less than about $60,000. So I just targeted people who were looking for a fixer upper. So the person that bought it from me was a single woman, and she was so happy to buy something for so inexpensive. And then her goal was to fix it up herself. So she lived in it while she did that, and she kind of updated me with the pictures and all of that. But I, in 5 weeks, made a $25,000 profit with this strategy. Such a great beginner friendly strategy too, by the way, when you're just starting out and you don't want to get super into the rehab of it. If you do the strategy right and you're buying the home off market, that is really the key, because it's, you make the money on the home when you buy the home. You have multiple options for what to do. I could have taken that home and put in a lot of rehab. I could have put in about $15,000 to $20,000 worth of rehab, and I could have sold it for probably somewhere around 60,000. For my area, that's kind of the going rate for that size home. So I just, instead of doing that though, I decided on a quick exit strategy so I could get the cash and move on to my next deal. So that is what I did. I took that 25,000. I then reinvested that profit into my next mobile home. So the next home I got was free. It was a free home that the park called. They called me. They also saw one of my bandit signs, and they had this home sitting there vacant. They had to evict the person that lived there. And so this home was just sitting there, not doing anything for the park. They're not collecting lot rent on this home, because they lose money when that home is not occupied. So the park management said, do you want to take it? We'll give it to you for free. I said, sure. And so I got this home for free. I put in about $7,000 to this home, and it was it was a little 1 bedroom, 1 bath home. So the after repair value on it was I only sold it for 16,000, just because of, it was in a different city and than the one that I mentioned before. And it was a very small park. It was not the best park either. And the house was just really, really tiny, and it was really old. So my after repair value on that was 16,000. So I made a $9,000 profit. Again, I just took that and reinvested it into my next deal. My next deal also, I got that one for $5,000. The third deal I did was my worst deal ever. And I talk about it all the time because, and you guys know this, I'm super transparent with you. I did not lose money, but I did break even. I actually spent a ton of money on the rehab. I'm going to go into in another video, so stay tuned for it, on this deal, because it was my worst deal ever. This was also back in 2019. And I learned a lot from this, but I basically underestimated the amount of rehab. I overestimated how much I could sell it for. So I had a lot of things that I did wrong on that one, but I did just kind of chalk it up to a free education, basically, in what to do, what not to do. I learned a lot about contractors in the process. And so anyway, broke even on that one, not my best deal. My fourth home, and I'm just going to go through this and my next deal really quickly so you guys can just understand basically how I came up with a 56,000 profit. So my fourth home, I bought that one for $3,000. Also a call from a bandit sign. The sellers had to be out of their home in a week. They had a job transfer out of state, and they needed to be gone fast. This was a 1972 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot double wide home. And it was in a great location. I ended up negotiating $3,000 for this home. And I also decided with this home to do the quick flip strategy. I did put about 7,000 into it because it needed some things to make it livable. It honestly was. I sold that one for $25,000. I put it on Facebook Marketplace also. and Craigslist, and got somebody who was interested in it, and that was $25,000, was a steal of a deal, because for that size of home and where it was located, the after repair value, if I had done like a full rehab, if I had done anything more, like if I had updated the home cosmetically, I could have gone ahead and sold it for about 65 to 70,000 was the after repair value at that time for this park and in this particular area. So, but again, I wanted a quick cash out, and because I was really just starting to build up my capital. So I sold that one for 25,000. I made 15,000. Also, it only took about 5 weeks on that one as well. So that was my fourth deal. My last and final deal was, and this was actually the start of a lot of when I began doing elevated repairs and rehabs and remodels. This was my first one that was just really, really pretty. And it was in that same park as house number 4. And I got that one because it was a referral from the park manager. And this is honestly the best lead source for me is my park managers. Once I get into a park, I get lots and lots of deals coming from the park managers, because they either will send me to they'll refer me to somebody that is either getting evicted, or they'll send me to somebody who wants to sell their home really fast. And so they'll connect me directly with the seller. So that's what happened with the fifth deal. The fifth deal, I bought it for $7,000, and it also was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, double wide, also from the late 70s. So the park put me in touch with this seller and walked the home. It was a great home, had a lot of potential to it. It was just outdated. It really was good structurally. It didn't need, all of the big ticket items had already they were solid, like the furnace, the air conditioning unit, the roof, all of that was good. It just was really needing a cosmetic rehab. But I went really elevated with this one because of the location where it was sitting in the park, and because of the location of the park. And I decided to go kind of all out on the rehab, the remodel, and the landscaping. And this is not where my typical profit margin is. I typically shoot for 100% profit margin on all of my deals so that I'm doubling my money invested. But with this one, I just wanted to kind of show the park, kind of what I could do and what an elevated rehab with Steph actually looks like. And so we did, and because it was on a corner lot too, it was a large lot. So a lot of landscaping went into it. A lot of my budget went to landscaping. Normally, I don't put that much into landscaping now, but back then I did, just again, because I wanted to get into the park and really show them what I could do to help really elevate their park too, and increase the aesthetics of their park. So did that. I did a full cosmetic rehab. It was really, really beautiful when we were done. And I ended up selling that one and making 7,000 on that one. And I just kept going year after year after year. I just kept marketing myself as a mobile home buyer. And that is what I focused on. And I really stress to my students to not go looking and trying to find really good deals on Zillow or even Facebook Marketplace. You're not going to find that many that are actually going to make you a huge profit margin. You really need to get connected to those motivated sellers who call you because they heard about you, whether it's from your bandit sign or whether it's from the park manager. So I'm going to link that one video down below for you so you can see my bandit sign strategy, and you can also do this in your area and you know how to start doing it with the right strategy. So I will see you in the next video.